Good morning, everyone. It's Louise from Eleanor Grace, and apologies for my absence for a few weeks. I've been working hard on beginner and intermediate stitch workshops for slow stitching. So I apologise for my absence, but I thought I would come back today to show you 3 stitches that I've learnt recently, which are new to me, and I thought might be nice to give a go. So these are the 3 stitches here. I found these in a book that I've got called the Complete Stitch Encyclopedia, which is I think it's probably out of print now, but you may be able to get something similar. I'd really recommend getting a stitch directory because they do show you some really interesting stitches. So we're going to try 3 today. That's the square boss, the cross and twist stitch, and the crown stitch over here. So you may have to bear with me as these are all very new to me, but I will just take that in a little bit nearer and start off with the square boss here. So this is a fairly simple stitch, which is started by just doing a standard cross stitch. So what you want to do, ideally just making a standard size cross, so you can do that whichever way you want. Being left-handed, I tend to go this way. Now obviously if you're making several of these, you want to make the stitches in the same direction in the way that you would with a cross stitch, so just to be aware of that. You know, if you always go left to right diagonally and then top left to bottom right, then you know, if you're making multiple ones, do the same. So what you do is just give a little bit of tension, and you've got your first cross, and then what you're wanting to do is come up between the stitches. Now I'm going to come up between these 2 here, and what you're wanting to make is a little back stitch over each of these arms. Now you could do it in any way you want. Technically the way that I've seen it done is to come over backwards and then come through the middle there to make a little sort of almost like a wrap over that side. And then you want to keep doing the same. So you want to come here, I'm going to come back over here and make a stitch across there. And then once you tighten that, you've got 2 sides done. So again, I would go over here and come up at the top. That would make my 3rd arm, and then come down here to make your stitch. So now, as you can see, I've got 4 little points on each arm. I'm just going to try and bring that in a bit just to show you. You could just literally go over each one in a more simple method, but this is sort of the, I suppose, the official way. So I'm going to show you that one again. So officially they are back stitches, which is why I'm working it the way I am. So there we go, like that. Make a cross stitch. Okay, then this time I'm going to start in the middle bottom. So just coming up between the stitches, you can see that, back stitching over, and what you can do, as I've done, is just push through to the other side, but ultimately you're just back stitching over that bottom left hand corner, and then when you pull that tight, you just get a little raised lump over there. So I'm going to come through this side, pull that through. There we go. I'm trying not to pull too tightly now because I'm left-handed. Working right to left is very difficult, so I'm just going to go over this one and come up separately. There's always one part of the stitch that's more difficult, isn't there? So there we go. So going over each arm, and then you end up with this little neat little square with a little sort of bit in the centre. Let me see if I can bring that in just to show you. Unfortunately, the weather's not really playing ball today, but you get this neat little square. It's just a little bit more fancy than doing a cross stitch. So I like that one. I think that's one I'm going to be starting to use in some of my projects. Another nice one is the crown stitch. Now for this one, basically you just need to make an arrow with two sort of short arms pointing up. Firstly, initially you're making a V, and then you're making a longer sort of tail stitch, just as you would with an arrow. There we are. Okay, and then to finish off this stitch, what you want to do is make a little loop that's going to come from the top and swoop underneath these three layers. Now this loop needs to be just slightly wider than your original points, so you're going to come out a little bit further to the left and to the right of these original points here. So if I make that first loop, that first stitch there, then what you're going to do is come through, come out the other side, and then again you're going to try and make it even. So you're coming out around the other side, and then you just pull it, not too tight, but just pull it too, and it gives this quite nice little fancy stitch. I will do that one again. So again, you're making a arrow, so you're making a sort of inverted V shape first of all. Oh, I've lost the thread on my stitch there. There we go. So you're making an inverted V and then coming up to create the point of the arrow. And then, as I say, you're just going to go up and go slightly wider of the edge of the arrow points here. So here I'm going to go up here. Then I'm going to just tuck that underneath, come up the other side, and again to just try and make sure it's slightly parallel, and pull that too, and you've got what we call a crown stitch. So the third stitch, I'm just going to just finish this one off. The third stitch I think is the most complicated, especially as a left-hander, because all of the diagrams I've seen make absolutely no sense to me, because they are backwards, as they always are. Sometimes that's a problem and sometimes it's not. So I'm going to make this in a different colour. I've got a nice purple here, nice lilac-y sort of colour. Okay, so this one we're going to attempt is called the twist and stitch. Sorry, cross and twist stitch. I can't get it right. Cross and twist. So this is made initially again by I'm going to go in the middle here, and let me just take this up a little bit. This is initially with a cross, so another cross stitch. So very similar to the others. Let's just make that. Hopefully, colour-wise, you can see that thread. It's a little bit overcast here, but the sun looks like it's trying to come out. So I've got Ella's hair on this. Right, okay, so we've got a cross there. With the cross and twist, what you want to do is come up above the top of the stitch. Okay, and then you want to loop your sort of free piece of thread all the way round, and then come through the middle, making sure that you pick up this loop at the bottom. And I hold on to it as I do it because this is a little bit fiddly, this stitch. So hopefully, if I do that correctly, you should get what initially gets a little bit out of shape. You do have to neaten it up a little bit, then give it a bit of tension, and then take it down underneath to the same sort of length that you've done the top, and you get this little thing called a cross and twist stitch. Now it may be difficult. I'll do another one because I'm doing this left-handed, and obviously for any right-handers you may be twisting the yarn the other way or twisting the thread the other way. I'm using cotton perlé 8 as I mostly do for this, all of these stitches. So there we go. So that's the cross stitch. So you're going to come out at the top a little bit above, so you're making a nice long initial stitch and loop there. So you loop the thread around and you make sure you go through the middle, but you catch this loop underneath. So it is one of those stitches that you sort of have to tidy up as you do it, and make sure that there's the right amount of tension. So sometimes you have to pull the top and to make sure that the tension's right. That looks okay. And then I'm going to go in underneath, and it's just a slightly fancy sort of star stitch really to me, but I thought that was a nice addition to my repertoire of stitches. That's what I was going to show you for today. If you are interested in the workshops, I have the beginners and the intermediate workshops. The beginners has come out, and that is ready to go to make a beautiful bookmark like this. So let me zoom out a little bit there. So I will show a variety of stitches, including some of the ones that I've demonstrated on these sessions, but things like the fly stitch, the feather stitch, herringbone, blanket stitch, chain stitch, and also lazy daisies, which are a form of chain stitch, and seed stitch. And the intermediate will have those stitches plus more. They will have things like the woven wheel, and also some couching and all sorts of other things. So a bit of couching here. But that one is just being finished. So the beginners one is out. And that is ready to go. If you're interested in that, please do put a comment on this video, and I will get back to you and let you know how to organise that. Basically, I have a PayPal account which you know, I can organise payments through, and then the intermediate will be to make a stitch case like this, and this is one of my favourite ones. I've kept it for myself actually. Most of them I give away, but this one is a favourite, so I've kept it. But this will be out in the next couple of weeks. Both of the workshops are just £10 each, which is not very much for something that you're keeping forever. And the link to these will be a YouTube link, so you will be able to access it easily, and it is not something that's available to anyone who doesn't buy the workshop. So it is all there. The beginners workshop is just under 2 hours plus a pre-video, and you can stop and start and rewind and watch to your heart's content, and that's yours forever. So if you're interested, do put a note on here and do have a look at some of my other videos, and I will see you soon. Bye.